In this video, we will discuss creating break lines from points. If you would like to follow along with this video, please open the file 0502 creating break lines from points.dwg located in the training folder as discussed in the working with this dataset video. There are a few methods that you can use to establish break lines in a surface. Break lines instruct Civil3d of points that have a linear relationship with each other, and two or more points are required to define a break line. Let's examine how to create break lines that could be added to a surface for proper triangulation, along with just creating some regular polylines that are used simply for graphical representation of a feature. First, let's use some point group functionality to minimize the clutter of points in our drawing. We want the point codes ditch, break line, and wood lines to only appear so that we can see just those points. We'll go to the Prospector tab, Point Groups, and we already have a point group for break line creation. Again, this is that point group that we would create in our drawing template so that for every drawing that we need to create break lines for, we can just edit this and we'll use the no display functionality to minimize that clutter. I'll right click on 4 break line points and go to Properties. And then in the Include, I'm going to make sure that with raw descriptions matching is toggled on. And then I'll just go into here and I can type them in. And we want ditch with an asterisk at the end of it in case there's any additional point information, so it'll grab all of them. BKL, asterisk, and WDL, asterisk. And then let's check our point list to verify that everything is there that we need to be. Again, this list is sortable, so you can sort by any of the columns, and notice that we have the points that we need. Click OK. Now we need to set the priority for the no display to be up top, and then for break line creation to be above that one. Click OK. And sometimes you have to do a region all, so I'm going to type in REA. And now we've minimized our point list. Note, if you want to zoom to the points in this point group, just right-click on it and choose Zoom to, and there are our points. Let's go ahead and change it to 1 inch equals 10 to just see the points a little bit bigger. So first, let's go ahead and create 2D polylines of the break line, ditches, and wood lines, because eventually you can use those 2D polylines as proximity break lines. This will be discussed in a future video. So I'm going to just use the polyline command. I'll type it in PL for polyline. And I also want to now initiate the transparent command for point object. Just to point out, if you want to actually turn on your transparent commands as a toolbar, you can go to the View tab, Toolbars, Civil, and then Transparent Commands. I'm going to type them in because it's a much more efficient method. So I'll just type in apostrophe PO. And that apostrophe says transparent command, PO is the one for point objects. Press enter, and then now just following the command line window, it says select point object. So I'll pick 1, 2, 3, and then I'm done. I hit escape. That puts me back into the polyline command, but I am done, so I can just hit escape again. So don't forget that. That's the process for using transparent commands. Simply invoke it, select the Civil3d objects or functionality, hit escape to get you back to the original command, and then keep going. Let's go ahead now and create a ditch break line. So we notice that we, let's say, forgot the ditch figure prefix, but that's okay. We'll just go ahead and add it right here. So I know that by looking at these points, they're all in sequence except for up here. I have ditch 1 that ends at 797, and then as I peruse here, I notice that it does skip a point. So I can still use this functionality to do point objects, but it's also easier sometimes to actually type them in. So I'll start the polyline command again, but in this time what I want to use is the point number transparent command, which is apostrophe PN, enter. And then now I can type in a sequence of points and they can be separated by dashes and commas. So I want 791 dash 797 comma 799 dash 804. Press enter, and just like that, as you can see, it just connects the dots for us. Again, when you're done with that transparent command, hit escape. Notice how it puts you back in the original command that you started with, and just press escape again to get that done. Now let's go ahead and zoom around here, and we notice that here's our wood lines. So we actually don't need this. This is not going to be a break line. This is more for graphical representation. So what I'm going to make sure I do is I'll make sure that I set my layer to the correct layer, and it's v-topo-tree, and then I'll start the polyline command, and in this case use the point object. So apostrophe PO, press enter, and I'll just pick my points. Notice how you can do a crossing window if it makes it a little bit easier. If you mess up, hit escape and undo. Okay, so that was escape and undo if you mess up a vertex, and then simply just get back into the transparent command with 'PO. Press enter or escape to get out of the transparent command, and then press escape to end the command. And that is it. So we now have some 2D polylines for graphical representation as well as for proper triangulation into a surface. Now, let's say I'm going to put all my points back up here. So I'll put the all points above everything. Click OK. Let's say the surveyors forgot to locate these points with the correct description. And in this instance, we actually have a head wall that we want to go in and create here that we will eventually use the head wall type break line. So you'll notice I have one point with head wall, and notice how the elevations are the same here. So I need these 3 points as the head wall. If you're going to do a head wall, you must have a 3D polyline. That way it can grab the actual elevations from the head wall object. So I'll just start the 3D polyline command, which is 3D poly. And then in this case, I could just use node snapping. So I have node snap already activated, and I will simply snap to the correct points. So that's 701, 798, and then 708. Hit escape, and now I've got my 3D polyline. I accidentally put it on the wrong layer, so I'll just select it and change it to the correct layer. So that's v-serve-figure. This concludes this video discussing creating break lines from points.